So, Adam, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for making time to talk to me. Now,
Thanks
you
so much
will,
for having
of
me.
course, no, you're very welcome. You'll know that, well, just a very short while ago, Donald Trump announced on his Truth Social platform another hike in tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium. And he's demanding at the same time that tariffs on American farm products be dropped, or else he says he will drive the Canadian car business out of business. And the only way out is to become a state of the union. What do you say to that?
Well, I reject it. I reject the notion that Canada will ever become a 51st state or part of the United States. We're a strong sovereign nation with our own unique identity. And, the United States are our closest neighbor, trade ally, and partner. But what President Trump is doing is, akin to economic warfare and completely unjustified, unnecessary, counterproductive, chaotic. And he's personally destroying the US economy and threatening so many others at the same time. So I hope, cooler heads prevail, and I hope some of the smart people around him encourage him to reconsider some of these ideas that he's had. But look, Canada will push back. Canada will continue to undertake everything that's necessary, including looking at all of the energy that they buy from us, that the United States purchases, whether that's off of the grid or in the form of oil and gas. We are the United States' biggest trading partner. We purchase quite a lot from the United States. And because a lot of our really strong institutions, like in Ontario, for example, where I'm in Milton, Ontario, which is where my constituency is, Ontario is the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. So, obviously California makes a lot of wine, and Kentucky makes a lot of bourbon, and Tennessee makes a lot of whiskey, and their number one customer is Ontario. And that's all off the shelves right now. An average vehicle crosses the Canadian-US border 5 or 6 times before it ends up in somebody's driveway. This is the most successful economic partnership between 2 countries the world's ever seen. And Donald Trump's threatening that. But we're not afraid. Canadians are not afraid. I joined a rally called Elbows Up. If you're a boxer or a hockey player, then you know what elbows up means, on Parliament Hill just yesterday. And Canadians are ready for anything. And we're ready to stand up for ourselves, stick up for each other, and stand up against this, economic tyranny or American imperialism, whatever you want to call it. Donald Trump is wrong.
Yeah. It's quite a rallying speech, Adam. I have to say, this latest action is so extreme. These latest threats are just so wild, and they were so far out there already. I mean, how far can this trade war go? Because we are talking now about a trade war in progress. We're talking, aren't we, about a fight to the economic finish?
Oh, well, potentially. And I suppose, what's worth recognizing is that, it seems as though Donald Trump goes all the way on the gas or pumping the brake at the same time. He's not consistent. It's very, very chaotic. It's not something that business likes. Business likes certainty. They like a clear plan. They like to be able to make their own plans on the basis of government regulations and rules and plans for their own selves. So what he's doing is he's just causing a lot of turmoil, and it's a psychodrama. It's just plain and simple. It's not
Adam, it's a psychodrama. It's a psychodrama, but it's one with very real economic costs, including costs to your country, costs to Canada. In a tariff war of the kind that's now well underway, we're talking about a very real threat, aren't we, to the Canadian economy and to Canadian jobs?
Yes, we are. So we've undertaken counter tariffs that are commensurate with their tariffs and their threats, dollar for dollar, except ours are strategic and targeted towards, things that we have an alternative for here in Canada. A good example, pretty much any product that the Americans make, we also make here at home. We don't need their oil and gas or lumber. We have lots of that here. So we will continue to counter tariff in a strategic way to ensure that the Canadian businesses are able to remain whole. I'll say that here in Milton, Ontario, there's a huge effort to buy Canadian and support Canadian. Every shop along Main Street has a flag in their window from their member of parliament, and they have the opportunity to stand up and say, these are Canadian products, these are local products. You have the opportunity to support locally here. So we've got hardware stores in Milton that are they're Canadian owned. There's American ones that operate, and I'll say that their parking lots have seemed mighty empty these days. So look,
can Canada, tell me, Adam, can Canada be the country that that forces Donald Trump to think twice, forces Donald Trump to blink. Because we've already seen that the sort of tariffs and threats of tariffs have caused a good deal of alarm in the markets. It's happening again today. Do you think you can win that and force Donald Trump to back off? Well, you are, after all, talking about an economic superpower.
We are indeed. And look, we are also our economic population, if you want to compare us to other countries in the G7. We're the only country in the G7 with a solid trade relationship with every other country in the G7. Canada is a trading nation. So this is going to have reverberations across the planet. There's no doubt. The United States is the global superpower. But we also are resilient, and we have the ability to quickly pivot and trade with other like-minded, friendly partners that share our values. And that's the number one thing that I've taken from Mark Carney over the last couple of weeks, working very closely with him on his leadership contest, and very grateful to the UK for giving him back to us, because he's ours, and we want him here in Canada. But his message to the United States is that we're prepared to do business with countries that share our values.
Sure. Here's the thing, Adam. Can Canada win this trade war? And if so, how?
We indeed can. We have the energy above the ground, and we have the energy below the ground that the world needs. And Canada will continue to be one of the countries in the world where people look for inspiration. We are a kind and generous nation, but we also aren't hesitant for even 1 second to drop the gloves when somebody else drops the gloves. And if Donald Trump wants a fight, then we will fight. We'll fight back, and we'll stand strong for who we are and what Canada is and always has been. And I would just caution that the last time the United States threatened us in this kind of a way was back in 1812. And thanks to our partners in the UK, we marched down to Washington and burned the White House down. I don't think that's going to happen again, but we will continue to keep our elbows up and fight for Canada.
Right. Now, I get the spirit of what you're saying. I know you know a good deal about rivalry and competition. You are an Olympic gold medal winner. You're a world champion in the sport of kayaking. You're imbued with the spirit of rivalry and competition. But this goes so far beyond that. We're talking about a hostile takeover by a powerful, powerful neighbor. And the trade war that's going on is going to hurt. It will hurt Canada deeply. And you believe Canadians are ready for the sacrifices and the pain that will be coming?
Yes, we are ready, and we are prepared for that fight. We've been through tough times together before, and we know that when we stick together and stand together, that we can get a lot done. Now, I'm not going to suggest that I'm not worried or concerned. I just know that there are things that we can control and things that we can't control. That's both economics and sports psychology 101. And we're going to work to control the things that we can control, and that's the response that we produce and put on the table to these tariffs. It's the trade relationships that we continue to develop and continue to ensure are strong with other countries. And it's the border relationships that we have between provinces and governors and states in the United States, because what we've seen is a lot of Republican governors and senators in the United States kind of go to the PMO and say, like, look, we have huge liabilities here if you continue to do this. You know, nobody buys more bourbon from the state of Kentucky than Canada does, that Ontario does. So they're starting to ring the alarm bells. The auto sector is starting to ring those alarm bells, and we will continue to demonstrate to Donald Trump this is a huge mistake. And if he continues to go through with these tariffs and this economic warfare, as you put it, then there will be consequences to both of our economies.
Adam, tell me, Adam, you mentioned sports psychology. I mean, with your experience as a world champion, as an Olympic champion, does that serve as any kind of example to your country now in what's ahead?
It does indeed. Yeah. You know, I draw a lot of inspiration from my past as an Olympic athlete. Tough times and good times. And, you know, I know that success and good times require a lot of hard work and determination. And, you know, you got to put your head down when you're in a headwind and just get through it. And right now we're definitely paddling into a headwind. But I know that there's going to be a time where on the river, we're going to turn into the tailwind, and we're going to have better times. Looking forward to those, but certainly the hard work is necessary. The determination is required at this moment. But I'm very, very confident that under the leadership of Mark Carney, Canada will prevail.
Oh, now tell me this, King Charles, who is your country's king and my country's king, it is perceived that he's a supporter of Canada at this time. Is that important?
It has been. It's very important that we continue to have the support of our neighbors across the way, and King Charles himself. I'll say that I just awarded 30 very, very deserving local Miltonians with the King's Coronation Medal. And they all appreciate the strong relationship that we've had as a member of the Commonwealth. And I believe it was either yesterday or today that it's Commonwealth Day, is it not? So we have that relationship with so many other countries around the world. We're very grateful for that. I've attended the Commonwealth Games as an athlete and as a politician. So
are you then hoping, Adam? Tell me, are you hoping the King turns up in person to open the Canadian Parliament after the next general election? Would that be important, significant, valuable?
I've never known that to be a possibility, but certainly I think a statement like that. I noticed, I'll say, that the King was wearing his Captain of Canada regal outfit. I'm sorry that I don't know all of the correct honorifics for the wear. In school we don't learn as much about the monarchy as you might in the UK, but I did notice that he was wearing his King of Canada regal outfit while inspecting a ship recently, and I think that was a statement.
It was. Well, Queen Elizabeth, I think, in her time, did attend the Canadian Parliament. Are you hoping that King Charles will do the same thing with maybe slightly more, political effects?
That'd be, very welcome, I think. I'm proud of the relationship that we have with the UK and with our Commonwealth brothers and sisters nations across the planet. And I'll say that I was just at the Invictus Games in Vancouver and sat behind Prince Harry and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at an indoor rowing competition, and I had the chance to shake Prince Harry's hand and thank him for the creation of one of the most important institutions for wounded, sick, and injured soldiers and veterans. I'm just so proud of him for creating that. I know that it was sort of in the environment and in the ecosystem of the London 2012 Games, which I don't mind sharing with your listeners, was my favorite of the 8 Olympics that I've attended. It was phenomenal. It was amazing to race at Eton Dorney. I won a silver medal at those games, and despite the fact that I won a gold in Athens, I think London might even take the cake. But I am very, very proud of our relationships that we have both in the EU and with the UK, and certainly around the world with all of our Commonwealth brothers and sister countries. But that is true of the countries in South and Central America, and certainly the United States and Denmark. We often forget that Denmark's one of our closest country partners, because I've been to Greenland a couple of times. It's a wonderful sovereign nation with a very distinct and unique indigenous culture and history that the president of the United States doesn't seem to respect. He doesn't respect Panama. He doesn't respect Greenland. He doesn't respect Canada, and he certainly doesn't respect Gaza either. This is a man that admires Vladimir Putin. He has said that his annexation of Crimea and Ukraine were savvy and genius, and he seems to be trying to take a page out of Vladimir Putin's book, which I think we can all accept is absolutely wrong. It's morally reprehensible, and this economic warfare isn't going to achieve anything positive for any citizen. Donald Trump ran on a promise to bring prices down and work on affordability. And I just saw in the news today that American cars are going to cost on average more than $12,000 more because of what he's doing. The egg prices that he campaigned on, well, they're skyrocketing, not just because of this economic warfare, but also because of the avian flu, which his health secretary is completely ignoring because he doesn't believe in science. So this is what we're dealing with. Like I said, there's things you can control, things that you can't control. You've got to compartmentalize and make sure that you're focusing on the things that you can control in a situation like this.
Okay. All right. Adam, good to talk to you. Thank you so much.